Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back. And today's Tarant tip is going to be how to make a Reese bass. And it's kind of the same in every VST, but for this one, we're going to be using Massive. And yeah, so how to make a Reese bass in Massive. So this is from an init preset, so new sound. And the vibrato will come up and everything will be as is on this. So I didn't change anything else, it's just the way it is. The vibrato's here and I just put it up just a little bit. And let me show you what the sounds like. So a lot of movement you could do to the sound, and that's the way I wanted it, because Reese basses, making them, there's really not much to it, but the point of them is to throw them all over the place, bend them, cut off pitch, everything you can to them. So that's what I did to it, and let's get right into it. So oscillator 1, I did the saw 2. You could use saw 1. I literally just did it just to be different. Like there's no reason for that. I was just like, I always use saw 1. Let's just put saw 2 on one. And then I did saw 1 on the other one. Now, this one's down 3 octaves. That one's down just under 2. And I detuned them a little bit, and that's what gives it that little. Cause see, watch what happens when I put them on. So that one sounds good right there. If you listen, like when they're phasing around, when they like pass, it was like it would be cutting, and then that's why I just detune it until like when they pass again, it sounded decently smooth, you know. Right there is like whoosh, whereas on the other ones it kind of glitched in that point. So that's what's you need to listen for when detuning, and that's just how you come up with the detuning numbers, which it was more like I detuned this up 3 and then I just detuned this till it sounds good. So really no answer for that. It's just, again, by ear, which music is all done by ear. That's what it comes down to. So yeah, all these are just fine. Make sure they're all pointing to the saw side. And I did mod 5, or you could do any of these, or macro, it's on what they're called on here, and put the pitch over on this and the modulation oscillator, because I do end up using it, but then I just put them up an octave. So now when I when I spin this, I have a range of an octave to pitch it. And then so once I got that set up, I went down to here to the modulation oscillator, and I went to the phase, because phase usually sounds good on this type of sound. Most of the dubstep sounds it does sound good on, and I didn't want too high of a noise, so I did the macro on it. That's the pitch. I put 2 on it over here, and that way I could change it if I needed to get higher. But all it's really doing is just giving a little bite at the beginning, just to keep it from flat. Up here, filter 1, you got to make sure these are slammed up. I think they start halfway, so slam them up. I did just low pass 4, and that's what 6 is, so I can mess with it. And then just mix 1, and I think it stands for parallel. Now if you go to the voices, I did 3 unisons, mono rotate, and legato thrillers, in case you want to be like, play play stuff like that. That's set up, ready for you to go. And the pitch cutoff added some to it. This is without it. Gives it more of that phasey movement thing, and I brought it down to 0.40. Another cool thing, you could do this. Just adds a little more bite at the beginning, but I like how this is. Now what this is giving it some stereo width, so without it, it's right there. Now it's out here. And then from there, I started doing the LFO, which is up here, and all it's doing is controlling the amp. So I just have a little bit of it on just to give it like a little subtle movement. And then if I wanted to, so that's there for you to mess with and use to progress in your songs. And the reason for that, the amp, and not just having it on or doing it in like a cutoff or something, was because, again, I wanted the cutoff completely separate from the LFO, and this is the way to do it. You just put it on the amp and then control the amp. What was it? Routing, I did insert 1 up here and insert 2 down here. I believe 1 was right here, and I moved it up. And I don't know where 2 was. Maybe 2 was down there or something. So yeah, just make sure 1's up here and 2's down over here. And then come back. You're basically done with all of this. You come down here to insert 1, and you want to just turn the clip on, leave it as is. I was having some more drive on it, which I did like sometimes, so actually I am going to set up a macro for it. Just gives it a little more grit, and it like thickens out the sound, doesn't sound so hollow. And now what this is going to do, if you listen, it like morphs it, and it turns a little more, it's like juicier in a way. Don't know how to describe it, but it sounds juicier when you flip that S shaper over. Now up to chorus, I just threw it on just to fill out the sound if you listen. So just filling out the sound again, and this is going to give it some more stereo width and fill out the sound some more. So it's like here, and then it's like out there, gives it some life. Now down here, I put a little low shelf on it just to give it a little low end, but later on in the song, maybe I'll either put an oscillator 3 for the sub, or I'll do split processing and make a sub follow it. So that's why I just put a little bit on. I didn't really bother with the sub at this point. The boost is this frequency right here, so if I turn it down, or just so more of that low mid's coming out, and you can control the frequency too. So like maybe you want to put the LFO on it and do something crazy. So I kind of like what it's doing to it. Gives it a little more bite and a little more yeah to the wobble. And then I just took some of the high shelf down because that little buzz and crackle just eats at my ears, so I wanted to turn it down a little bit. But that's a Reese bass, and massive. As you can see, there's tons of different ways you could flip this and mess with it, and yeah, I just came up on the fly with a new way to further process it, and it actually ended up sounding good. So you guys just really need to experiment. The only thing you really need to take from this is the detuning of the oscillators, and make sure they're on saws, and listen for the phasing repeat, and just keep detuning it until it sounds good. Once you have that set, anything after it is up to you. You could really just make it however you want to do it, whatever sounds good to the style you make, song you're doing, or maybe you just create something crazy that you like. And that's the way you do it. You got to experiment, because otherwise you won't make anything new if you don't experiment. If you're always looking for a how-to specifically and always doing the specific things, you're not going to create anything new. You're only going to create what's specifically already been done. And sometimes it suits the purpose, and sometimes it's going to hold you back from going to that next step. So just really pay attention to the oscillator setup and the detuning, and from there, do what you need to make a Reese bass. Hope this has helped you. If you want this preset, it is going to be in Dropbox. I'm turning my Dropbox on right now for you. That's going to be in Dropbox. If you need access to this folder, click the link in the description and put your email in. We'll send you this preset and tons of other presets. It's growing by the week, by the day. And once you have access to that link, it's yours. That folder is going to be updated, and stuff will just keep going into that folder for you. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and peace.